Welcome to This Much Is True. You all don't know where to start except to apologise for the shitty vision and the shitty audio. I'm afraid we are back to square one as regards our dynamics in this studio because software is not playing ball with us. So we can only wait for Saviour Steve to come back from the States and see if he can help. This might be reasonable quality, but let's face it, it's not quite the pin-sharp imagery you normally get and the really crystal clear audio that I have worked so hard to provide over these years. And it'll only get better, you know. So I hit the drink last night, not in a bad way. My wife was away. I've been off it for 3 weeks. Had the guts of a bottle of red. Wasn't in the least out of it. Didn't intend to be, but just thought when the cat's away, I would have, because I've been so good. And here's the thing. Welcome to This Much Is True, by the way, the show you can eat between meals. Yes, I'm getting used to being without it. So I can certainly wait another few weeks before I imbibe. My original plan was to hold out until Halloween, but I was a sneaky boy last night. But I didn't miss it. I slept well after it, I have to say, despite the fact that I have a horrendous cold. Oh yes, me and my aches. What is it like? It's mostly sunny and it's 14 degrees, and I believe there's some kind of a storm on the way. What kind of week have you had? I'm not really interested because I'm just going to tell you about mine. Isn't that it? I've actually had quite a busy week. I can't say it's monetary rewarded, but life isn't all about that. Actually, I've got some good stuff lined up voiceover wise. But here's where we're at. So, oh look, it's a live show. What can I do? Here's where we're at. I'm tired because I've got cold, an awful kind of phlegm on my lungs. Scary Era is going out on the Paranormal UK platform. So therefore, I was given deadlines. So I would hope a show maybe every 3 weeks or so. This is all to do with paranormal, largely in the Irish context, but not exclusively so. That made me focus. And the result was I found myself busy and kind of loving what I do, refinding a kind of love for the whole technology, despite all the bollocks with the cameras and mics. I got out of the house. I conducted two interviews. One over the phone with my my mixer, and my lovely Bluetooth technology. That worked a treat. Another out and about with my little roving mic. Now, we were in a very kind of echoey place, an old guard room of a military barracks. But I got an interview there with the curator of Cahill Barracks, formerly Portobello Barracks. I was driving there, and I heard myself on the radio doing an ad. And I came home and had an ad on TV. And no, it's just that this is such an isolating existence. Sometimes you think you're going bananas, and then you go, okay, it's 30 seconds, but it's my contribution to the broadcast world, and you feel a little bit useful, because a lot of times I feel useless. My wife is driving me mad to promote my book, which is years old now. When did I release it? 2016? The Man Who Chased Joggers. And she had kind of... Did I say kind of again? Fuck, I keep doing that, don't I? Where's my bell? I can't ring it. Can't even find my bell. Those of you who know the show know I try and wean myself off saying kind of by ringing a bell. Yeah, she's been at me, and there was a meeting this week in a library somewhere, how to get an agent, and it was originally free if you entered a competition. Well, it would be free if you won the competition. And I said I would, and I got around to doing it and saw that I missed the deadline, so she wasn't too happy about that. By the way, I am one of these people who generally just win competitions, not necessarily big ones. I've had a few. But when it comes to writing something or recording something, I'm usually pretty confident that I'll win it. And that's self-praise is no praise. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because there is so much shite out there that if anybody at all has any talent, they're going to spot mine. I don't know what it is. I just, like, I'm surprised. No, I'm not even surprised if I don't win them. I don't care. But, you know, I go in with I can't explain it. I'm going to win this. That's not cocky. It's just how my brain operates. If I think I'm up to a challenge, don't get me wrong, I've often done what I think is brilliant and it's got absolutely nowhere. See this kind of stuff here? I don't know if you see it. It flies up. It looks like dust. And it only happens on this frickin' camera. You'll see it every so often, like fluff or orbs. So it only happens on this. Interesting. There's another one. Just went down. What is that? Because there's no real dust in here that I'm aware of. Hello to the usual crew. I do intend to give you, because it's in the can now, I am going to upload the first audio edition of Scary Era, as in a produced program by me. I had the pleasure of working with the technology this week, as I said, and I also, God, did I really learn how to edit tight. And it's been a revelation to me. Just, by the way, here's my condensed advice to anybody who wants to edit audio, indeed in my time edit manuscripts or what have you. And my advice to you is, cut back, and when you think you've cut back some more. You would be surprised how many repetitions. Obviously, there's a few yes, yeah, if you're interviewing someone, or erms from both parties, ums and ahs. And sometimes something is said twice. It's repeated as the initial thought is going through the brain. It's said and then it's refined. But you can do it out the first appearance of the thought. You can go, he's already said that. Then you also have to say, is it relevant? So I felt sorry for this guy I was interviewing in Cahill Barracks. Because I was there and I'd lived there for 24 years, I started going off on my own frickin' trail about this story and that story. And when I came back, and he was very patient with me, and he got a load of stuff, you'll hear it, because I wanted him to shine. But when I got back, I really had to say, is my story relevant in context here? Is it waffly? Do people really want to know? And for the most part, I thought, I am interviewing a reasonably good interview by talking about myself. And that's what I'd say to anybody as well. It's not about you. You're the platform. People are going to know who you are. Don't get insecure. You're the host. You're the presenter. Let the interviewee shine. And when it comes to editing, cut back. You will probably end up with a third of what it is you wrote or you recorded, or less than that even. But the finished product will be so much tighter, so much erms and ahs free, so much waffle-less, so much clutter-free, that it will be a reasonably fine product. Somebody who is known to me this week, I'm not sure for how long, but decided that they had had enough of a very, 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 very successful podcast after 10 years. He got depressed, and for now he's just put everything on ice. And he's left people wanting because he's harnessed an audience. But the guy is burnt out. And it's largely a thankless task. You're I want to say to the guy, I want to say to him, listen, I know you've put your heart and soul into it. Nobody could do it better than you. Nobody could garner that amount of listeners and loyalty, and you are a very funny individual as well. You've given a lot of joy, but I'm sorry. At the end of the day, it's only a radio show. It's not going to be world changing. And for the most part, people are zombies. You know, it's not their fault. They're concerned with putting food on the table, paying the rent. Their world doesn't revolve around your show. It's a part of it. But to quote my lovely Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran, what you do, if you're lucky, is you become the wallpaper, if you're lucky, the wallpaper to people's lives. And I want to hug the guy and tell him he's brilliant. But I also want to say, you're right. Walk the fuck away if you're burnt out. You're going to be no good to your viewers, your listeners, and you're going to be no good to you. And particularly if, let's say, it's not paying the bills or it's meager. I understand that. I get it. I went from having a pretty good salary to kind of being chicken or feathers. Now, luckily enough, my wife's a corporate woman. But, you know, we had it hard at times. There were times that it was very rough. So I understand the financial imperative as well. I do understand. And also, I have got to say it. I have to say it. And it might say, well, it's saying more about you than it's saying about the person. I'm sorry. But there is a hell of a lot of shit on our airwaves and on our screens. A lot. Did you see that thing I'd gone down again a second ago? Anyway, I digress. There is an awful lot of talentless filler shite, brainless on our stations. Yeah, there's talent there as well. But there's somebody who's on $250,000 a year of the taxpayers' money in this country. I won't name him. Sure, he's a pleasant guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But I wouldn't send him out to make me tea. And you see this in radio as well, and there's always a comment, but he's a nice guy. Well, I'm sure you're a nice guy. I'm sure there's plenty of nice guys, right? Oh, yeah, he took X amount of money, but he's a nice guy. Oh, well, he's under suspicion, but he's a nice guy. Do you know, I once read an interview with a prostitute, and she said, do you know, the guys I hate, and the guys that are the worst, are the ones who tell me they're a nice guy. They tell me, but I'm cheating on my wife, but I'm a nice guy. She said they're usually the most perverse or the most starved of whatever it is they're looking for. She just said, watch out for the nice guys. Now look, some of these nice guys have persevered. Some of them have been connected. Nice girls and guys. But you really are holding up the broadcasting experience for the rest of us by plonking your fucking, oh my God, your banal, mediocre arse and commentary in front of our eyes and our ears. But I understand why. I really do. What, number one, by the way, is my stomach rumbling? That's probably last night. My apologies. Is this Mike? Hello. I understand that. I do. And you could say you're begrudging. You're Irish. You're begrudging. No, I'm not fucking begrudging. I'm saying if you are a broadcaster, you know, you must recognize, first of all, it's a very privileged position to be in. It's not one you're entitled to because you know so-and-so and you know so-and-so, or you feel comfortable in your own little world, and you're never going to give offense to anybody. Life does not fucking work like that. People need to be stimulated. People need the cut and the thrust and to be sparked and to be humoured if you're on the air. If you sit there in a jumper and you say, how are you today, Mary? Really? And the cost of potatoes? That's amazing, isn't it? Have you anyone you want to say hello to? Sure. And asked anything like of any relevance or seriousness. Sure. I haven't an opinion on that. Well, if you've no fucking opinion on it, will you please get off the air? Because it's a two-way thing, communication. You can tell the wine's probably gotten to me. And you could probably draw conclusions from what I'm saying about me, but you're wrong. I do remember an era, and here we go, it's the old fella saying to the new people. No, but I do actually remember an era of some extremely, and I am not even at the ankle of these people for what I do, but some pretty giants of broadcasting who knew their craft. The kind that would make you pull over to the side of the road to listen to what they've to say. Jerry Ryan. People had opinions on him because he seemed at times to be up himself. But by God, he could afford to be. He was an immensely talented communicator. He had the power, whether it was genuine or not, of empathy. He could put himself in the listener's head and see it through their eyes and walk in their shoes. And he was funny. That's why I loved him. Kenny Everett. Madcap, creative genius. Totally different. Never going to be really controversial, but was always going to be extremely funny and concise as well. He didn't have to go on and on. Creative with the characters. Remember all the characters he used to have? Sid Snot. In the best possible taste. And amazing. I'm looking here for his book. I have one of his books. Amazing guy. Unique. And in my opinion, nobody has ever come close to Kenny Everett on radio for an enjoyable, pleasant experience. I can only speak for Ireland as well, I suppose. Gay Byrne. The late Gay Byrne. Somebody who lived and breathed broadcasting. The consummate broadcaster. Quintessential. You know, they just don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to. Perhaps because things have changed. I get it. We're living in a microwave type environment. Ping! I want everything instantly. I don't want to sit down when I can be stimulated here by Instagram or TikTok. But Instagram or TikTok largely, I don't know if you have ever feasted on such strange shurs. What you will find about them is they're like eating peanuts or popcorn. There's no satisfaction. You could spend an hour looking at TikTok and go, what the fuck was that about? And the problem with it as well is it's scroll. If you don't even like the look of someone, he might have the most important message to convey. You're going to go scroll. Don't like him, don't like the look of her. She's pretty. I listen to what this airhead says because she's got a nice pair of Charlies. Oh, yeah, next. That's where we've gotten. And we're too far gone. And I think what this broadcaster I mentioned to you realised himself is we're too far gone. Too far gone for him to make any difference, despite being compulsive listening, despite being passionate and eloquent, despite being extremely funny, despite being a part of our lives. Maybe he expected too much. I don't know what demons. I think they're going to be temporary, because I believe it's in his blood. He'll be back behind the mic. But maybe he just took it all a bit too seriously, because at the end of the day, it's only a radio show. I will upload the Scary Era inaugural episode for you as a preview. It is going to be carried on the Paranormal UK platform. And I've really lived this week, guys. Despite all my little ranting, I've lived this week. And I've lived the life of someone who kind of does what he loves. Oh! And sat here for hour after hour and editing stuff you won't even appreciate. But I do, because I know what went into it. Learned a lot. Learned so much this week. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm going to go out for a walk now by the sea. I'm going to stop talking about me, and I'd like to look at you. I want to know what's going on in your world. I'm blue in the face asking, would you contact me? This much is true at protonmail.com. I know, Sue, it's always you and me, kid, isn't it? This much is true at protonmail.com. Protonmail.com. This much is true at protonmail.com. Sure, you can put a few comments below if you want. Tara, Susie, Nigel, Jerry, there's a couple of new subscribers. Hello to you. Sorry for being, can't say middle-aged really anymore. Am I 61 as it is? I'm too freaking. The old facade as well. It's definitely fading. And yet I feel more alive than ever before. Apart from the wine last night. I do want to know what's going on in your life. It would be nice. Even if it's trouble, share it. In confidence if you want. I'll respond to you on email. We don't have to do any of this stuff. Sure, what the hell? What's the viewership on it? Is it shit? It probably is. I have a feeling, though, that will change. I'm working the system to make sure things change. I mean, some of my YouTubes have got, for me anyway, 10, 15,000 views. And they're usually the most... Certainly they don't have any profound message. They're probably often the most idiotic of ones, or the most bite-friendly, quick, in-out. I think there's two anyway that have blown the roof off as far as my statistics are concerned. Anybody with a ghostly story, a paranormal experience as well, I want to hear from you. You can send it to me at the email address I've sent it to you. Or if you want, Paranormal Ireland, it's my other one, at protonmail.com. Paranormal Ireland at protonmail.com. For any of those ghostly experiences you might want to share, my dear, come into my parlour. Doctor, where do I put my clothes? On top of mine. Dr. Manning at your cervix. Right. I got to go and walk and think about a big blonde with rigor mortis in her fingers.